Talk more about this issue. It sort of underlies the entire healthcare debate. Joining us now, Time Magazine's Washington bureau chief, Michael Scherer. He edited the piece in this week's new issue, which looks at why the Republican plan for Obamacare scares GOP governors, and is Medicaid a part of this, Michael?
It's a huge part of it, and I think it's important to unpack some of what the senator just said there. When you say you're bending the cost curve, because health care goes up something like 7–8% a year in cost, if you bend the cost curve, even if you continue to increase, you end up cutting the services delivered. It's like giving somebody a quarter to buy a quart of milk. It would have worked in 1965, but if you give them a quarter to buy a quart of milk now, they're not going to get a whole quart of milk. And what Rand Paul's saying there, that the Medicaid expansion is anchored in, what he's talking about is some of the tax benefits given under Obamacare will be given to people with lower incomes. That continues. But there is a massive cut that goes to the states. And the federal government is basically saying in this bill, the states, you're going to have to deal with it. You will have to decide in the out years whether you increase taxes on your residents as state taxes or whether you cut other spending. And that means cutting roads and education and, the other things the states spend their money on. So, it is a massive cut on Medicaid, and you have Republican governors coming out now incredibly concerned about this in states that matter a lot to Republicans, not just in presidential election years like New Hampshire, but in 2018 when Senate elections happen next year.
Mark Halpern.
Michael, do the Republican governors have any influence over congressional leaders or the White House? I hear them making public statements, but are they on the phone or trying to influence the shape of this in a direct way?
Yeah, I think you have, Dean Heller in Nevada, Rob Portman in Ohio are talking to their governors, and so there are direct connections there among some of the senators who are holding out. And I think the moderate resistance you've seen is coming in large part by the states lobbying their own home state senators. So there is resistance, and McConnell has to deal with it.
Michael, you also edited a piece in the new issue of Time Magazine on Trump's immigration policy. So some news on that first. President Trump turned his focus to immigration yesterday, meeting in the White House cabinet room with families who had lost loved ones to crimes committed by undocumented immigrants.
Tomorrow, the House will vote on the No Sanctuary for Criminals Act, which will cut federal grant money to cities that shield dangerous criminal aliens from being turned over to federal law enforcement. The House will also vote on Kate's Law, named for Kate Steinle, who was killed by an illegal immigrant and who's been deported 5 times. This law will enhance criminal penalties for those who repeatedly re-enter the country illegally. You lost the people that you love because our government refused to enforce our nation's immigration laws. For years, the pundits, journalists, politicians in Washington refused to hear your voices. But on Election Day, 2016, your voices were heard all across the entire world.
Michael, the piece you edited in the new issue says that Trump's policy on deportation puts all immigrants at risk. Explain it.
Well, so what the president has done is recast immigration as a public safety issue. He talks about MS-13, a despicable and violent gang, and the other crimes that have been committed. The statistics that Department of Homeland Security has put out, though, show that the people being deported and arrested right now are not the majority criminals of that variety. Now, 76% have some criminal record, but a significant portion of those are not violent criminals. These are people who've been arrested for driving without a license in some cases because they can't get a license in the state they live in, or other misdemeanors in their past. They're counted as criminal. You have a third that are non-criminals. And you have a lot of people being detained now for, overstaying visas, for declining to follow judges' orders after their asylum application has been put forward. And the head of ICE has said very clearly that no one should feel safe, that no undocumented immigrant should feel safe right now. And so there's a sales pitch going on that you hear the president saying, and then there's the reality of what's happening out in the country.
How does the reality differ from the Obama administration, the Obama era?
Well,
deportations?
The biggest difference is the Obama administration actually gave enormous deference, even to people with misdemeanor convictions. There were people who would go into the court system, they were undocumented, they have a misdemeanor conviction, and then ICE would say to them, well, look, just check in every year, and we'll go over your file, and you can continue to stay in the country for the time being. And that's about 60 or 70,000 people who fall into that category. Now, most of those people who've been checking in, or a large portion of those people who've been checking in now with ICE, find themselves detained when they go in. So these are people who the Obama administration had said you can stay in the country despite your undocumented status, despite other issues, and now the the Trump administration is deporting them.
All right, the new issue of Time is out now. Michael Scherer, thank you very much. And up next, President Trump is already raising money for his 2020 re-election campaign. But will he see the same jam-packed rallies from last year? The Economist is checking in with some of his core supporters. Keep it right here on Morning Joe.
Thanks for checking out MSNBC on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. And you can click on any of the videos around us to watch more from Morning Joe and MSNBC. Thanks so much for watching.